What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here on a Saturday evening. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because sometimes YouTube unsubscribes you. And we're closing in on 37,000. I would love to get to 140,000 before the season. That would be incredible. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys that are there and so on. And I'm actually here doing something I enjoy doing, which is cooking here at the Red Brick House. Got me a pot of chili, and I'm just waiting for my Mexican cornbread to be ready, and then I will eat. So I've got a couple questions here. We are on the cusp. It's Saturday evening, okay? Don't forget, it's daylight savings time, so instead of it being 5:15, it'll be 6:15. So don't forget to, well, your clocks are all automatic. Forget it. You don't need to reset them. Be that as it may, we're going to lose an hour. And come Monday at 12 o'clock, legal tampering begins. And the Cowboys, since getting their restricted free agent signed, getting Osa Odighizuwa done, and getting, of course, their triggers put in place to get $54 million. I still don't know when the rollover money is going to hit, but it should hit before Wednesday, I would imagine. But the Cowboys haven't done anything else. There's a couple of players that are set to be free agents, and if the Cowboys don't do anything in the next 48 hours, they will, less than 48 hours. And one of those would be Brandin Cooks. Now, Brandin Cooks has a $4 million dead hit this year because they used the voidable year. That's already baked into the equation. What they're saying or estimating right now is Brandin Cooks' market value is about $5 million a year. So the question is, do you bring back, and not only him too, we also talked about Rico. Rico, they're saying his market value is about $6 million. I actually think that that's pretty good because $6 million basically would be the 15th highest paid running back. It's not like he's at the top of the market. I think that's a bargain. But Brandin Cooks. Now, Brandin Cooks is a one that you wonder because he ended up having the mysterious knee injury that turned into an infection to start the season and basically really did not play much at all last year, only a few games. He is in his 30s. He is getting up there in age. And he's been, the first year, 600 yards or so, I think. He was our number 2 wide receiver. Do you bring him back for $5 million? That is the real question. And when it comes to free agency, so here's the problem for the Cowboys. Too many times we've heard Stephen Jones literally talking about, we believe in our own guys, right? He always talks about, we believe in our own guys, and we don't go elsewhere. Well, here's the problem with believing in our own guys is we've done pretty good with our own guys, but our own guys alone are only going to take us so far. They're only going to take us so far. And so I have to look at it and say, if we're going to truly get over the hump, we're going to have to do more than what we have right now, the status quo. I love bringing back Osa Odighizuwa. I would like to bring back Rico as well. And I think how we had a 1-2 punch a couple of years back when Zeke and Tony Pollard were there. We had about 2,000 yards rushing. They both were, close to 1,000 yards, and Tony Pollard was that receiving back out of the backfield. I'd like to see that again. That would truly help our quarterback stay upright, stay healthy, and be able to play well down the stretch. We need to be able to run the ball in the playoffs. But if we say we're bringing back Brandin Cooks and we pay him $5 million, then that's kind of saying then, okay, we're done, we're good. And I'm not ready to say we're good with just Brandin Cooks being our number 2 receiver. We have to look at this differently than we have in the past. We have to look at not just plugging holes, but making the holes better than they were before. And we truly need a big upgrade at wide receiver. I'm sorry, we do. We need somebody else that can take some of the attention away from CeeDee Lamb. I mean, I can't imagine how good CeeDee Lamb would be if they had to double cover somebody else some of the time. And that will stretch out the field. It will open us being able to have more separation, because we're one of the worst teams when it comes to separation. And I'd like to get a big body wide receiver that's physical, that can really change those things. So do I look at it and say, $5 million to bring back Brandon Cooks, but $6 million isn't enough is too much for Rico? I think Brandon Cooks is only like 250 yards, 300 yards last year, if that much. Rico was over 1,000 rushing the football. So, some of the things you hear here, are talking heads that are giving you their opinions. Typically, what the Cowboys usually will do is they like you to go out there, test the market. If you want to be here, test the market, see what you can get, come back and we'll talk. They did that with Amari Cooper, with him, when they first had him and he got his, they were getting ready to sign him to his contract. He actually went to Washington, and the Commanders ended up offering him more money than the Cowboys were. But he came back because he wanted to play for the Cowboys and not the Commanders. Go figure. Randy Gregory got his offer from Denver, came back and said, "Hey, Cowboys, what will you do with this?" They, of course, wanted to nickel and dime him and take some things, put in some triggers in there where they could get their money back. But Randy said, "No, thank you." And Jerry said, "El Paso." So don't be surprised if you do see Rico back or Brandon Cooks. If Brandon Cooks ends up not getting the offers, kind of like you could think back a few years ago with Cooper Rush. After Cooper Rush was 4-1, people thought that they were going to be breaking down the door to get Cooper Rush on their roster, right? Free agency. Oh, Cooper Rush. Man, people are going to want to sign him to be the starting quarterback. And there was no market. There was no market whatsoever, and it ended up being he came back. So we'll see what the market is, and it may end up being that you can get these guys for a little bit less. But I believe we need a bigger upgrade, a much bigger upgrade at wide receiver. Brandon Cooks, like him, nice guy, decent player, but we need to really get somebody else that's going to be able to open things up for us. Whew. Oh, man. Whew. I love cooking. I got me a pot of cowboy chili. Woo! This thing's got bacon in it. It's got sausage in it. It's got 4 kinds of beans in it. It's got steak in it. Oh, man. And it's got ground beef. This, with the Mexican cornbread that's sweet and hot, that's some good eating, man. Look at that. That's some good eating right there. Alrighty, good people. As always, I'll see you later. I got to eat.